Hey guys, how are you today? I missed you guys last week. I had a few appointments and I was worried about those, but everything went good and I'm so glad to see you all this week. How are we? Hey Trista, how are you? I hope your sister's feeling better. And Erin, good to see you. And Brett, always good to see you. How are you guys? I do have an update for us about Ashley. Remember, she's the young lady that went missing on January 2nd, and they ended up even having to search the landfill for her. Well, remember, they also, hey Wolfie, how are you? It's good to see you. Um, they ended up searching the landfill for her for I believe it was almost exactly a week, and they did. And remember, they had arrested her ex boyfriend because her last known location was at his apartment by her phone, and so they did end up searching his apartment, and they found evidence even in his dumpster, and I think that that's why that they searched the landfill, and they uh, they didn't find her, unfortunately, but they did. I think some of the DNA came back, and they were able to charge him with murder, so that's really good. So they are moving along in that case, so that's wonderful. Um, I'll show you guys a video about that in just a second. But first, I wanted to tell you guys about when you guys know that every week I post a community prayer request post. And now, you guys, when you're looking for it, it doesn't say community post, it just says posts, I think, now. So they're still there. Um, but they're named something different. I don't know why that YouTube has to switch things up on us. I don't like change. But anyways, I was I was talking about the mustard seed and how that in the Bible it says I put this verse. It says, I tell you the truth. If you had faith, even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it would move. Nothing would be impossible. And that's Matthew. Hey, Eddie, how are you? All things serious. Good to see you. Um, so I was just, you guys can go back and read that. It's just talking about faith and how it's all right to start out somewhere, small. That's quite all right. It can turn into something big. Hey, grateful middle aged cat mama, good to see you. How are you? So I wanted to read this to you guys. Our friend Sunday Doodles left me a comment about it that I hadn't even thought of. And I asked her if I could share this with you guys, and she said that that was fine. So I wanted to read it to you guys. Also, I put Eddie in the Nightbot, guys, so that should work. We'll see if it works. But he has a mental health channel, you guys, and I would his people over there, really, it's a good community, and they talk about all sorts of things over there. So if you want a place, that would be nice to check things out. I might have messed up the Nightbot. I added something earlier. um Let me see. I'll go over and grab it and drop his link right fast. This is Eddie's link, you guys, and I try to go over there when I can. um his people really love him over there, I can tell, and I appreciate that too. And they get into some deep topics, and I'm glad that somebody has a place like that where they can go to. But okay, so I'll read you what Sunday Doodle says. She says, as I sat in the warm comfort of my home watching live streams with family members, of the missing, I ask God to hear their pleas. They are in the cold, dark wilderness, gripped by pain, grief, confusion. In each and every one, I saw a mustard seed, a hope, a conviction, a strength not of this world. I saw a chap pouring water on those tiny seeds, shining the sunlight and warmth seeds need to grow and stay healthy. Some family members had strong plants. Some were trying desperately to nurture what small amount of faith they had left. Today I pray. I give myself in prayer, asking God to continue touching subscribers in chats to hold these families up so those tiny little seeds and those wilting plants continue to grow and thrive. We can be the difference. Be kind, be aware. Words matter. Hey, hippie chick, how are you? It's good to see you. So I hadn't even thought about comparing the families of the missing to mustard seeds, and that's so true, you guys. And it's so true about what we say matters, even if you're not a creator and you're a chatter. Wherever you go, you can be a nurturing, help to these families. And so I really appreciated that. It is on my, I think, like 3 posts back, if you guys want to check that out. That really touched me, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So today what brings us here is first I saw let me see if my nightbot's working at all, because there's something that I just added that I want to see if it works. Well, that one works. So it's just being, it's discriminating against Eddie. That's what it is. Sorry, Eddie. I'll get that figured out. I was just in there messing with it, though, so who knows what I've done. But, okay, today, you guys, what I want to talk to you about is, and you guys know that I'm kind of figuring out, so let me start at the beginning. Okay, first, what I saw is there was a Border Patrol agent that was murdered on January the 20th. And I started looking into that and started looking at the perpetrators, and it is a big web, you guys. I think that there is at least 5 murders tied to this group. And I'm going to tell you today, I want to start today with the murder of the Border Patrol agent, and then we might have to do some more lives to go over the rest of them, because you guys know that I like to talk about the victims, and so I want to give each one of them the attention that they deserve, But first, let me see here. I got out of my groove, you guys. Where I missed a week, I totally got out of my groove. Okay, but hey, Debbie, how are you? It's good to see you. Are you just coming home from work? Okay, you guys, let's talk about David Christopher Maland. And he was named after his dad, but his aunt said that he always went by Chris. He was 44 years old on the 20th, and he is a military veteran of 9 years. So it seems like right out of high school, he went into the military by counting up the years and stuff. But everybody knows I'm not so good at the maths. But so he was in the military for 9 years. And then after that, he went into the federal government. And he was a Border Patrol agent at the southern border first, before he decided to go up to Canada and work there. He was born in Blue Earth, Minnesota. So I'm thinking that around Canada, up Vermont area, I'm thinking that he liked that kind of weather more than the southern border, because he was used to it, And he graduated in 1999. One of his classmates from back then. He said that he was the sort of guy that was always willing to lend a hand, and he always had your back, one of those type guys. And his aunt told a really cute story. I'm not sure if I'm going to play that video or not. I'm not sure if I have it, but I did watch it. And she said that he offered to take her to the airport, and she said, well, you didn't have to do that. And he said, you know how I live my life, it's service over self. And so he was that type of guy, a really good dude, you guys. And when he was in the military, he actually was security at the Pentagon. So they said that he was there on September 11th, and when he heard about the terrorist attacks, he was sent to guard an undersecretary to one of the branches of the military for several days at a bunker at the joint base in southeast Washington. So he did a lot for our country, you guys. And Border Patrol is it's very much needed. And so he was working there about 20 miles from the Canadian border on January the 20th. Let me show you guys. I wanted to show you guys this picture too. It's his dog. He was a canine handler, and his dog was named Cora. And I reckon that she was there with him on the southern border, and also when he moved up north too. So let me see here. This is her. So he went by Chris, but I have David down there, and that's Cora. And so he was working there, and let me go ahead and read you guys this. Exactly what happened on that day. This is from the United States Attorney's Office, the District of Vermont. It says, woman charged with discharging firearm during assault of United States Border Patrol agent. And she has not been charged with his murder. The last time I checked, she has some gun charges. But it says, the United States Attorney's Office, the District of Vermont, I have to make it big for a second, stated that Teresa Youngblood, 21, and who is to believe from Washington State, has been charged. Hang on just a second, guys. I got to pull this up a different way so I can see better. By criminal complaint with one count of using a deadly weapon while assaulting a border patrol agent. And one count of using and discharging a firearm during and in relation to that assault. Her initial court appearance has not been scheduled, which she has had 2 court appearances since then. And hey, Tony and Music City Mom, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in. Which she has been to court now twice, and they are giving her no bail, so that's really good. It says, according to the charging affidavit, during the afternoon of January 20th, 2025, a United States Border Patrol agent initiated a traffic stop of a Toyota Prius on Interstate 91 in Coventry, Vermont. The car was occupied by Youngblood and a man who was a citizen of Germany and whose immigration status was in question. Youngblood and her companion had come to the attention of law enforcement a few days earlier when a hotel employee in Lyndonville expressed concern about them being dressed in tactical clothing and protective gear while also being armed. Law enforcement also observed the couple in the Prius earlier on January 20th at a Walmart parking lot in Newport, Vermont. At that time, the German man was seen wrapping unidentifiable objects with aluminum foil while seated in the vehicle. According to the affidavit, during the January 20th vehicle stop, both Young Blunt and her companion were armed. During the stop, Young Blunt fired her handgun without warning toward at least one of the Border Patrol agents while outside the vehicle. Her German companion also tried to draw a firearm, and at least one Border Patrol agent fired his service weapon. The exchange of gunfire resulted in Border Patrol agent David Maland sustaining fatal injuries. Young Blunt and her companion were also shot. The German man was pronounced dead at the scene, and Young Blunt was taken to the hospital for medical care. The investigation into the incident is ongoing. So, that is what happened, but now I want to tell you guys more of the details, and I do want to tell you guys this. So, here they're saying Young Blunt and her companion, the German guy. And I do want to say that these people are transgender. And so I'm going to be trying to remember to say the pronouns that they chose, but I only found it in one article. And also, if I say their names, these were the names. They hadn't had their names changed on their driver's license or anything like that. So, but I'm going to try my very best, you guys. And also, I drop resource links for the topics of the cases that I cover. So let me see. Hopefully this one works that I just added to Nightbot. And if it doesn't, I'll add it manually. But this is a good resource that I found. And it says that it is it stands for Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbian and Gays. So that's what, and it's the channel that I sent you to, the website that I sent you to, it has all the resource links right there all together. Oh, it does work. So, yeah, so there's that. If you guys, please take advantage of the resources if you need them. Okay, so what happened that day was they had been seeing a week before that. Officers were called to a hotel in Lindenville, I think was the name of it. And they were called because the owners of the hotel had seen this group. Well, these two people, at least, they were dressed in tactical clothing, and they were also had a firearm. And so they were kind of creeped out about it. So when police first came into contact with these two, they said that they were in the area looking at property. So the authorities had kept intermittent surveillance on the two, and they had seen them walking around town with an open carry, and also they had seen them go into Walmart and come back out with rolls of aluminum foil. And that'll make sense to you guys in a little bit. But after they left the Walmart, they decided to pull them over for an immigration check. And at the time, they thought that Bach Holt's visa had expired, but now they're saying that it was a current visa. So that kind of makes, I'm kind of, I don't know about that, but I guess it is possible that it could show up that it wasn't current and then show up that it was current. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for that. But either way, what happened next should not have happened. Youngblood was driving the car, and it's about 15 minutes into the stop when she steps out and starts shooting at the Border Patrol agents. I think that it said that, I can't remember exactly how many shots she fired and they fired, but Maland was struck in the neck and he was rushed to the hospital, but he did end up being pronounced dead about an hour later. And that was Maland, the Border Patrol agent. And Bach Holt, he was shot. He tried to pull a firearm too. They said, we're going to read the court documents too, so I think that'll help us get understand things a little bit more. But he had tried to pull a firearm too, but he was shot before that he could fire any shots. But so he was pronounced dead at the scene. And young Blunt, she was shot too, but she was taken to a hospital and she did survive. So that's what happened. So now I want to show you guys first a video of Mr. Moreland's family, what they had to say about it. Let me see here. I'll share it with you guys too, so that you can you can look at it on your own time too. Police Off the Cuff, that channel, they've been covering this story too, and they do a really good job. You guys should check them out too.
Continuing to follow the investigation into the fatal shooting of a U.S. Border Patrol agent in Vermont's Northeast Kingdom this week. Tonight, we're hearing from David Maland's family. NBC5's Anna Goober spoke with his loved ones today. She joins us now from the newsroom with the message they're sharing with us tonight. Anna.
Yeah, well, Brian, David Christopher Maland's family says he's dedicated his life to serving others, and they're left heartbroken and mourning his devastating loss.
When my brother called me and told me the news, I think the first thing that came out of my mouth is he's one of the greatest people I've ever met.
It's a nightmare David Maland's family never imagined living.
It was shocking and horrific and surreal.
Those are the words his aunt uses to describe the moment she learned that her nephew, who's also a son, brother, and fiance, was killed in the line of duty while serving as a U.S. Border Protection agent in Vermont.
David, my brother, had sent us a text saying it was Chris, and I'm sorry. We're all just brokenhearted still.
Joan Maland says her beloved nephew was named after his father, but for as long as she can remember, he went by his middle name, Chris. She says he was someone who loved all things outdoors.
Bless them, you guys. I always feel, I don't know if, I think I've told you guys before, but I don't talk about him often, but my stepbrother, he is a state police detective. So he is also, we worry about him just the same. And I pray that we don't ever get a call like this. It's absolutely awful. Hey, Jen, it's good to see you. We've missed you. And Ava, thank you so much for coming by too. Thanks, guys.
Hiking, biking, and playing with his pups.
He loved the outdoors. I think that's why he loved Minnesota, and that's why he loved Vermont.
But above all else, she says Chris dedicated his life to serving others.
I remember I needed a ride to the airport, and he said, I'll give you a ride. And I said, Chris, that's so kind of you. And he goes, Joan, service before self. That's how I live my life. And I've never forgotten that. And that is how he lived his life.
Chris's former classmate, Matt Mahoney, says even in high school, he was always someone you could count on.
He was always kind of a guy that was always out.
Hey guys, I also want to tell you that you guys know that how I always say to check out the GoFundMe's and do your own due diligence, but I do want to drop his GoFundMe here. So yeah, when you're not expecting, hey Teacup Kraken, good to see you. When you're not expecting a loss like this, and he was only 44 years old, it's a lot of expenses all at once. So yeah, there it is, you guys, and I'll leave it in my description after this too.
Always out there to lend a hand. And he was just one of those loyal guys. Would always have your back on something.
And in a message from Chris's fiance, she says his unwavering integrity touched everyone who knew him. Now as Chris's loved ones...
Oh, guys, I have to tell you, too, his fiance, Roseanne, his aunt said that he was getting ready to propose to her, and he had even went to the Reverend already and asked for him to if he would marry him and Roseanne. So how sad is that to you guys? Oh man, this is awful.
Ones mourn their tremendous loss. They're asking for just one thing to honor his legacy.
Please hug your loved ones today in honor of David Christopher Maland.
We are, of course, continuing to follow the investigation into Monday's shooting. At this time, the FBI says they don't have any updates to share. We will, of course, bring you what we learned and what's sent to this newsroom from federal authorities, both on air and online on our website,
Bless his aunt. She's the one that I've seen speaking for him. Yeah, it's really sad, you guys. There is one more. He also has a cousin that is in the Minnesota State of Representatives, and I wanted to show you guys what she said too. Let me find it, and I'll get us there. It's just a short one, but I like to share all that we can when they speak. I'll share this with you guys too.
We are learning more about a U.S. Border Patrol agent from Minnesota who was killed in Vermont this week. 44-year-old David Maland was known by his middle name, Chris. His family says he was a military veteran who worked security duty at the Pentagon during 9/11. His cousin is a Minnesota lawmaker from Lakeshore. She honored him on the House floor today, saying that he will be remembered for his courage and commitment to protecting Americans.
Throughout his career, he was offered many opportunities for promotion, which he turned down because he wanted.
Yeah, that's another thing too, you guys. He was offered a lot of chances for promotion, but he turned them down because he wanted to stay working in the field. He liked working with people, with the public.
He wanted to be more focused on making a difference in the field and seeing the impact that he had each and every day.
Maland is the first Border Patrol agent to die in the line of duty in more than a decade. Officials say he was shot and killed during a traffic stop near the Canadian border on Monday. 2 suspects are involved. One was a German national who was also killed. Officials say that he was in the U.S. legally. An American woman is in federal custody.
I'll tell you guys more about the two perpetrators too here in just a little bit. But now I wanted to show you guys they have quite a bit of surveillance footage from that day. So I wanted to show you guys that. Let me see here. I'm going to turn the music off because I don't want them to, I don't care if they copyright strike me, but I don't want them to take my video down. So I'll read it to you guys too, because it's got some words with it. It says U.S. Border Patrol agent David Maland was fatally shot during a traffic stop on I-91 in Coventry, Vermont on January 20th. Prosecutors say Teresa Youngblunt, 21, was in the driver's seat of a Toyota Prius that had been pulled over and that she fired 2 rounds at Border Patrol agents who returned fire. Velas Bockholt, a passenger in Youngblunt's vehicle, was killed as he tried to pull out a handgun. but we know that Felix, he goes by Ophelia, and he uses feminine pronouns. The following is security camera footage provided by the Newport City Inn and Suites, where Youngblood and Buckhold stayed for 6 nights prior to the shooting. Remember, I told you guys that that it was around January 14th when the owner of that motel called police and said that that 2 people were kind of making them feel some kind of way by their tactical gear, and also they were open carrying a gun. Teresa had one on her hip, allegedly, when they went out to town and stuff like that. So after that night, when police tried to talk to them, and all they would say was that they were in the area looking at real estate, they moved motels that same day. So I think that they were trying to get out from under the eye of law enforcement, So it looks like they went to the Newport City Inn and Suites, and that's where they were staying right prior to the shooting. So here they come out. It says Youngblood and Buckhold can be seen exiting an outer stairwell around 10:30. Around 3 p.m. is when the shooting happened. It says, before leaving the property on foot, Youngblood walks to the front office while Buckhold remains behind in the parking lot. Youngblood enters the front office and makes arrangements to extend their stay at the inn. And let me show you guys. I have a photo of... So this is her right when she graduated. I think this was on her Instagram. So I think right when she graduated high school. And then that's what she looks like on the right now. That's the only photo that I have. Yeah, and they said that she had been... It says, meanwhile, Buckhold walks back to wait near the parked Prius they were driving when Border Patrol agents pulled them over on I-91 5 days later. Also, this must be when they first got there. And they always kept their mask on, too, the whole time. So that kind of reminded me of Luigi Mangione. Do you guys think that they were part of this? They're thought to be part of this cult, you guys. Debbie, the shooting of the Border Patrol agent happened January 20th, but they're thought to have been involved with some murders before this, too, all the way back to 2022. You thought the same, Jennifer? Yeah. The cult that they're a part of, I'm going to have to look more into this, you guys. I figured that we could do a whole live just more about that. But what I was looking into, it's something about AI. And they're vegan. It's veganism and something about AI. And so, yeah, with the mask, it kind of reminded me of Luigi, huh? Wonder what they were planning. No, it was just the other day, Debbie. Yep. No, just January the 20th is when, around that time is when these videos were taken. Yeah. While Youngblood is still in the office, an SUV pulls into the hotel parking lot. Buckhold suddenly walks away. So I wonder what this is about. Buck Holt walks back toward the office as young Blunt emerges. The pair then leaves the inn on foot. Well, I wonder why they didn't drive their car. So I have to tell you guys that I'll tell you guys a little bit about it now, but I wanted to do a whole live to do more to go more in depth about the victims in these cases. But in 2022, all of these cult members, they were living in Vallejo, California, and a man, their landlord, an 80-year-old man, was beaten savagely and stabbed with a sword from his back to his front. It went all the way, sorry, trigger warning, but it's really bad. It went all the way through him. And so he lived, but during that, in self-defense, he shot one of the cult members, and that person passed away. But two other ones were going to trial because they were being charged with their cult members' murder, because during a felony, and that if the person that's committing the felony with you, you're charged for that murder too if something happens to them. So they were charged for that and attempted murder against 80-year-old Curtis Lind. Well, he was supposed to testify against them. And January 17th, another member of the cult, he is in jail now for the murder of Curtis Lind. Curtis Lind was killed on January 17th. Well, across the country, this happens on January the 20th. So it's really, really hard to keep everything straight, but I'm trying to help the best that I can, you guys. So these two, Buck Holt and Youngblood, they were the ones that we just saw on video that were involved in the shooting against David Maland. And so let's go ahead and read the affidavit from that, and I think that'll help us understand more. Let me get that pulled up for us, guys. There is there's a lot to it. Let me find it here. Let me get it down there to it. So first I want to tell you guys too that Young Blunt, the lady here that we were just looking at, her parents reported her missing in May of last year. And they said that it was in Washington, and they said that she had been lying to her parents about where she was going and with whom. And let me right here, it says, let me come back and get you guys and I'll show you what I'm looking at. So I would like to tell you this before we read the court papers, because it tells a little bit more about her. It said, concerns about Young Blunt began as early as May when Young Blunt's parents, who live in Seattle, contacted Seattle police to report her missing. The couple said their daughter abruptly moved out of their house and cut off contact with them, according to the police report. The couple told police their daughter packed all of her belongings from her bedroom, including her passport and medical records, into duffel bags and left. She sent her mother an email May 11th saying goodbye, and another email May 15th saying she had moved in with a friend and changed her phone number and that her parents would no longer be able to contact her, the police report states. The couple told police their daughter's behavior had changed recently and that she had become deceptive with them, often lying about where she was going or who she was with. She had also broken off friendships, including with people she had known since childhood, which was unlike her, according to the police report. Both parents told police they were concerned she may be in a controlling relationship and was forced to behave that way. They told police young Blunt did not have any diagnosed mental health disorders. So police, they ended up telling her that she was well within her rights to go where she wants since she was an adult. But her parents replied they thought the circumstances behind young Blunt's recent behavior was suspicious, according to the police report. Police determined there wasn't enough to trigger a missing persons report. So, and also, I know that her parents had even gone to the neighbors and asked if they had any footage of surveillance footage of when she left or whose car she got into and things like that, and they said that they didn't. But when they received the email saying that they would no longer be able to contact her, her mama went to that same neighbor and asked if she would call this phone number because they would recognize her phone number. But the neighbor said that they didn't feel comfortable doing that, so they didn't do that. Now I'll read the affidavit, and that might make a little more sense to us. And I'll also have to tell you guys, in the affidavit, some names aren't they keep the names, they don't say the names in here, but later we figure out who it is and stuff like that. I can't figure out how to make it bigger. I think I got it, guys. Okay, let me come back and get you guys. So this is what they read when Teresa Youngblunt went in to face her charges after she got out of the hospital. So I guess that she's doing okay. Not too bad. It says Leah. Let me see here. Leah Bogdanowicz, being fully sworn, hereby depose and state as follows. I make this affidavit show that probable cause exists to believe that on or about January 20th, within the District of Vermont, Teresa Youngblunt intentionally used a deadly weapon, a firearm, while forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, or interfering with Border Patrol agents while they engaged in or on account of the performance of their official duties. Further, this is probable cause to believe that Youngblunt used and discharged the firearm during and in relation to the assault with a deadly weapon, which constitutes a crime of violence. I am a special agent of the FBI, an agency of the Department of Justice. I am empowered to investigate and make arrests for offenses code. I have been a special agent of the FBI since December 2021. Prior to my employment with the FBI, I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers in the Risk Assurance Division for almost 10 years, ending my employment. So she's just talking about her background, and she says she has a master's degree in accounting and a minor in information systems. So let me go take a second right here and tell you guys a little bit about, so we know that she was reported missing in May, but she graduated from a prestigious private institution in North Seattle called Lakeside School in 2022, and that's the same school that Bill Gates went to. And she was in orchestra and choir. And she was a quiz bowl captain, so really, really, really smart. But most recently, she was a University of Washington student studying computer science. So she is a very, very smart woman. And Felix Ophelia Bockholt, he was from Freiburg, Germany, and he was a math genius, they say. He graduated with a mathematics degree from the University of Waterloo with honors in Ontario, Canada. And she had been working as a quantitative trader at Tower Research in New York since 2021. And somebody did some background research into that, and they said that those traders make, I saw one person say 120,000 and one person say 300,000 a year. So these both were highly educated individuals, and they totally ruined their lives here. And Bockholt lost her life. It says this is just a little bit more of the special agent's background. It says, because this affidavit is being submitted for the limited purpose of establishing probable cause, it does not include all the facts that I have learned during the course of the investigation, where the contents of documents in the actions, statements, and conversations of others are reported herein. They are reported in substance and in part, except where otherwise indicated. Okay, so this gets to what happened. It says on January 20th, 2025, at approximately 3 p.m., an on-duty uniformed United States Border Patrol agent initiated a stop of a blue 2015 Toyota Prius hatchback with North Carolina license plate number. Okay, you guys, remember I told you about what happened with the landlord being killed and everything, and everybody used to live in California? Well, most recently, Teresa and Bockholt, they had been renting Airbnbs in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, for at least the past year, I think. And so for some reason, they had traveled from North Carolina up to Vermont. I don't think that this is what they plan to do, engage with Border Patrol agents, but I do wonder what they were planning on doing if this hadn't happened. It might have been mass casualties way worse. It says, so the Toyota Prius with North Carolina, that's why it has a North Carolina license plate number, to conduct an immigration inspection as it was driving southbound on Interstate 91 in Coventry, Vermont. The registered owner of the vehicle, Felix Bockholt, a citizen of Germany, appeared to have an expired visa in the Department of Homeland Security database. Youngblunt was driving the Prius, and Bockholt was the lone passenger in the Prius. Multiple uniformed Border Patrol agents were present at the stop in 3 USP BP vehicles with emergency lights illuminated. Between approximately 3 and 3:15 p.m., agents reported gunshots at the scene. Supervisory Border Patrol agent Cameron Thompson was notified of the incident and responded to the scene of the stop, arriving approximately at 3:35 p.m. He spoke with 2 of the Border Patrol agents in the incident. They described that both Bockholt and Youngblunt possessed firearms, and that Youngblunt drew and fired a handgun toward at least one of the uniformed Border Patrol agents without warning. When outside the driver's side of the Prius, Bockholt then attempted to draw a firearm. At least one Border Patrol agent fired at Youngblunt and Bockholt with his service weapon. The exchange of gunfire resulted in Border Patrol agent Maitland, Youngblunt, and Bockholt all sustaining gunshot wounds. Bockholt was declared deceased at the scene as a result of his injuries. Border Patrol agent Maland was transported to North County Hospital for emergency care, but he was pronounced deceased at the facility at approximately 4 p.m. So they stopped the car at 3 p.m. and he was pronounced deceased an hour later. Youngblunt was transported from the scene to North County Hospital for emergency medical treatment and was ultimately taken to the Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center in New Hampshire, where she is presently receiving inpatient medical care. It says that they're going to conduct interviews with the surviving Border Patrol agents. about the use of deadly force is based on statements from the involved agents who responded to the scene during and immediately after. Prior to the Prius being towed from the scene, a combination of Vermont State Police bomb squad members, an FBI Special Agent bomb tech, and an ATF Special Agent bomb tech used remote technology, including a robot, to inspect and render the Prius safe based on concerns that it could contain explosive materials. And I did see pictures of that too, you guys. They had a robot looking for that. The process involved the removal of some of the Prius's contents. All the contents were either returned to the Prius in plastic trash bags prior to the towing or packaged and transferred to FBI custody for further examination pursuant to a search warrant. After the bomb squad rendered the Prius safe as described above, a VSP crime scene search team documented and collected evidence from the scene of the stop, and now they're going to tell what they found in the car. An MP&C Shield Easy model 38 caliber pistol resting on the hood of a USBP Chevrolet Tahoe, and then it goes through the more of the guns, you guys. And also, I told you guys when they bought the aluminum foil at the Walmart, they also bought more ammunition. And somewhere I read that they had 48 rounds of ammunition. And all of the guns here, you guys, they lead back to someone else that is in the cult, Michelle. And I'll tell you guys more about her in a little bit. But that is 2 of the murders that I was telling you guys about the 5 murders. That's 2 more. So the landlord in California, Curtis Lynn, and then about a month after his first assault, Michelle's parents were murdered. And they were found on January 2nd of 2023, I believe. And she was a person of interest in that. So I think it goes on to tell here that these guns were purchased from a person of interest in another murder, and that would be it. So I'll tell you guys more about their murders too in another episode. I was thinking that we could go through those. It says, from my training and experience, the agents likely would have seized any handguns from suspects in the incident and cleared them. So they were saying that that's why all of those were there, that they had cleared them. It says the Glock 23 was secured from on or near Youngblood after the incident, and the 380 was secured from on or near Botcolt. So they both had guns near them. So they say that Youngblood, having fired the .40 caliber at least twice from the driver's side of the vehicle, and the Border Patrol agents were turning fire. So she fired twice, and they fired 7 times. They said they also located a Washington State driver's license in the name of Teresa Youngblood on the ground near the driver's side of the Prius. They also collected 2 packets of suspected cell phones wrapped in what appeared to be aluminum foil that were left behind. So they had wrapped their phones in aluminum foil. Do you guys remember not too long ago it was going around that there was supposed to be some kind of electrical burst or something, and my mama was scared that all of our phones were going to be out of service, right? So she ordered these, what are those bags called, you guys? They had them in the Murdoch case, and they said that they put fairway bags. So my mama made us get 2 fairway bags, you guys, to put our phones in. So we have those. You would think that they would have Faraday bags too. Wonder if that really works. I bet that don't really work, where you really can't wrap your phones in aluminum foil and where nobody can track them. You think, yep, Fairway bags, teacup. And I tried it out. We put our phones in there, and then I tried to call them from the other phone, and that didn't work. I mean, the phones didn't ring. So at least it stops the signal from calling, so they do work. Oh, he did, middle-aged cat mama, yeah. Yeah. So I was just wondering why they didn't have those. The wrapped items are suspected to be cell phones based upon X-ray imagery taken by the bomb squad. When inspecting the Prius using the robotic equipment, the bomb squad observed several additional electronic devices in the Prius to include an Apple iPhone, at least 2 additional cell phones, and multiple laptop computers. I would like to see these kids. Well, I say kids because they're younger than me, but you would think that they know all about electronics and stuff like that. So I'm wondering what the discovery will be on all of these devices. Teacup Kraken says they're named after British chemist Michael Faraday. Oh, wow. Thank you. I love fun facts too, Jen. I was just about to say that. I do. And I'm always spouting them off to my friends. And Heather Bratt says they're shower thoughts. When you think about weird stuff in the shower, it just comes out. So I have a lot of those. Let's see. Based on my conversations with law enforcement officers, Buckholt and Youngblunt were observed by the investigators prior to the stop of the Prius on Interstate 91. So between 11:30 and 2:35 p.m., they were at the Walmart. They observed Buckholt enter the Walmart at 1 p.m. and came out with what was later confirmed by Walmart employees to be 2 packages of aluminum foil. Youngblunt remained in the Prius in the driver's seat. When Buckholt returned to the vehicle, he was seen removing sheets of foil and wrapping unidentified objects while seated in the passenger seat. So they just didn't. So I would say, you guys, back on January 14th, when the officers first spoke to them, I bet they knew that they were being followed. I bet that's why that they switched motels, and that's also why they're wrapping their phones up, I would say. While in the Walmart parking lot, investigators observed Buckholt making at least one phone call on a cell phone outside of the Prius. She was then observed entering the Prius with the cell phone and was not observed discarding it between the observed phone call and the later stop. Investigators had been performing periodic surveillance of Buckholt and Youngblunt since on or about Tuesday, January 14th. A concerned citizen, an employee of a hotel in Lyndonville, Vermont, contacted law enforcement after a male and female had checked into the hotel to report concerns about them, including that they appeared to be dressed in all black tactical style clothing with protective equipment. So, here, you guys, this is an instance of when a hotel employee saw something and they said something. Like I said, you guys, they had a lot of ammunition, a lot of guns, a lot of electronics. So they had bigger plans, in my opinion. So I'm glad that hotel employee saw something and said something and called law enforcement. They saw the woman, later identified as Youngblunt, carrying an apparent firearm in an exposed carry holster. Investigators with VSP and Homeland Security Investigations attempted to initiate a consensual conversation with Buckholt and Youngblunt, but they declined to have an extended conversation, claiming that they were in the vicinity to look at purchasing property. After the contact with law enforcement, the pair checked out of the Lyndonville Hotel. This is when they left the hotel right after the cops talked to them. And it said investigators later observed the pair in similar tactical dress on Sunday, January 19th, so a day before the shooting, walking in downtown Newport. Youngblunt was observed carrying a handgun at that time. On January 21st, 2025, I applied for and received a federal search warrant for the 2015 Toyota Prius occupied by Youngblunt and Buckholt at the time of the stop. So a day after she applied for a search warrant. And let's see. It says, among the items that were in the Prius, she says, I know that the Prius contained various pieces of tactical gear, including a ballistic helmet, night vision goggle, monocular, a tactical belt with holster and a magazine loaded with cartridges, 2 full face respirators, 48 rounds of .380 caliber jacketed hollow point ammunition, a packet of shooting range targets, some of which were used, 2 handheld two-way radios, approximately a dozen electronic devices, and multiple removable electronic storage devices, documents containing identification, utility, lease, travel, and lodging information pertaining to multiple states, and a parent journal found among young Mullen's identification documents. So it was her journal. Hey, Adrian, how are you? It's good to see you. Hey, NorCal Jim, how are you? It's good to see you too. Thanks for coming by, guys. I'm doing some reading right now. It's crazy. So it says that, so this is the, this is her charges. So that's all the charges. So now I want to tell you guys about who the guns were registered to. So this is, the guns were registered to Michelle Zajko, and she's 32 years old. And they are still looking for her. Let me show you guys this. She's wanted for questioning because it said that somewhere else I read that a person of interest in the murders of her parents, which were Rita and Richard Zajko, a person of interest in that crime is also who the guns were registered to. So, let me see here. So I have this. I don't think that there's a warrant out for her right now. The last time that I looked. Yeah, let me share this. So she also goes by Jamie, and look at her birth date, you guys, 12/31 of 1992. That seems so crazy to me. So it was actually her birthday, you guys, when they think that her parents were murdered. And I have a lot about that. And some stuff that I saw on Twitter was crazy about it too, but I still have to verify all of that. But it says she's a female, white, 5 foot 2 inches tall, 140 pounds, and brown eyes and brown hair color. So I have to show you guys this, the difference between what she used to look like and then since when she's gotten involved with the cult. So that's a big difference. She is a bioinformatics researcher, and it says she was also a children's book illustrator at one point and a neurobehavioral researcher at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So she's highly educated too, you guys. These are highly educated people with a lot of money from their jobs. So they have, they're very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So let me see here. Oh, this is a good video too that we, oh, you guys, let me show you this. Remember I was telling you about Curtis Lind? This is what he looked like after the first attack. So he lost an eye and everything. And then 2 years later, when he's about to testify against them, he is killed. So now they say that the case against those people are at stake because he was the main eyewitness, you know. So bless his heart. Grateful middle-aged cat mama says, do they have a universal motive or theology? Yes, they do. I will have to look for that. I have it in my notes somewhere. But this video kind of explains things, how it's all connected a little bit better than I can. So I'll share this with you guys too so that you can watch it when you want to. Oh, I got the sound off. Hang on.
Killing of a Border Patrol agent in Vermont, an elderly couple in Pennsylvania, and a fringe group in the Bay Area. I've been working with my colleagues at the Chronicle to make it all make sense for you. Let's go back to November 2019. A radical offshoot of the rationalist movement called the Zizians staged a protest against the Center for Applied Rationality while dressed in black robes and Guy Fawkes masks. Ziz, the group leader,
Guys, I also found some documents about this back when they all got arrested at this protest. That's a lot too. And this is Jack LaSota. He's believed to be the leader of the Zizians, and he actually faked his own death. And I found the obituary from where he faked his own death. But you guys, when Michelle's parents were killed, they obtained a warrant to search her residence. So while they were doing that, they found her at a hotel, and guess who she was with? Ziz, Jack LaSota. He was there. So he supposedly was dead. They did a big search for him in the ocean and couldn't find his body, but then they find him in the motel with Michelle. Yep. I'm not sure, NorCal. It was Vermont, Coventry, Vermont is where the border agent was murdered. Yep, I don't know why they call him that, Heather. Yep, but that's his nickname. He's supposedly the leader, and that's what they call themselves, the Zizians.
who's also known as Jack LaSota, and 3 associates were arrested: Emma Borhanian, Gwen Danielson, and Alexander Leatham.
Yep, that's what it says down there, Westminster Woods. I didn't see that. I remember that the death of Curtis Lind was in Vallejo. I don't know if that's near there or not. They were all staying at Curtis's property in box trucks, and because of the moratorium of evictions for COVID, he couldn't evict them. They stopped paying rent. So it was when he was calling the sheriffs that day to get them evicted, that's when they attacked him. 80 years old, you guys. That's the first murder I think that they attribute to this group.
Fast forward almost 2 years, Ziz and the associates file a federal lawsuit against Sonoma County, Westminster Woods, and the 2 deputies. They say they were wrongly arrested, abused, assaulted, and mocked for being transgender. In August of 2022, Ziz allegedly dies in a boating accident in San Francisco Bay, according to an obituary in a Fairbanks, Alaska newspaper. Then in November, Leatham, Borhanian, and Dow allegedly attack their Vallejo landlord, Curtis Lind, with one impaling him with a samurai sword through his chest. Lind shoots 2 of his assailants, killing Borhanian. Lind survives the attack, but is left blind in one eye. Leatham and Dow are charged with murder and attempted murder. A few months later, in Chester Heights, Pennsylvania, Richard Zajko and his wife Rita are found shot to death in their home. And Jack LaSota, the namesake of the Zizian movement, was arrested in the state as police investigated that crime, indicating that Ziz was actually very much alive. Remember the federal lawsuit Ziz filed in 2021? That's now dismissed because the plaintiffs are unwilling to pursue further action. In November of last year, Teresa Youngblood and Maximilian Snyder applied for a marriage license in Washington state.
I forgot to tell you guys this too. So Teresa, that was involved of shooting at the Border Patrol agent, she and Maximilian here, they applied for a marriage license November 5th, I think, of last year. But he is the one that is in jail now for killing Curtis Lind on January 17th. So he was in jail for murder 3 days before his fiance here, Teresa, shot the Border Patrol agent. So it's really hard to keep things straight, you guys. Ava says, I can't imagine being mocked in the Bay Area, to be honest. Maybe carrying a chip on their shoulder from prior. Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah.
State. It's unclear if they ever got married. The couple went to high school together in Seattle and studied computer science at prestigious universities. We'll get back to them in a second. On January 17th, 2025, Curtis Lynn, the Vallejo landlord, is attacked and stabbed yet again. This time, Lynn dies from his injuries. We talked to a man who works at an auto body shop across the street from where the crime happened. Here's what he said of the gruesome killing.
El señor, Mr. Curtis, se bajó de su carro y él llegó y lo abrazó por atrás y lo empezó a apuñalar. Algunos muchachos vieron y trataron de ayudarle y el muchacho se regresó nuevamente a seguirlo apuñalando y le cortó el cuello.
Lynn was set to
Oh no, you guys. I was reading that to you guys and I was muted. I'm so very sorry, but trigger warning. That guy was explaining what happened to Curtis Lind, and he said that they continued to stab him and then they slit his throat. An 82-year-old man, you guys, after he had lived through that violent attack 2 years prior, and he was in a really bad automobile accident, and he had made it through all that, and then they take his life. Yeah, it's awful. And I wanted to tell you guys that I dropped that resource link again. It is for parents, families, and friends of lesbian and gays. And there is a whole lot of resources on that first page. So I wanted to tell you guys that even though, I don't want to focus on them being transgender. I want to focus on what they did and the victims that they caused. Yeah, that's true. I didn't kick myself out today yet, Debbie. We got a little bit more to go, so not yet.
To provide key testimony in the upcoming trial against his 2019 attackers. On January 20th, Youngblut, the supposed newlywed, and a German national, Felix Bauchol, also known as Ophelia, are driving near the Vermont-Canada border. They're pulled over for an immigration check. Youngblut allegedly shoots an officer and a shootout ensues. Border agent David Maland and Bauchol are killed. Youngblut is arrested and faces 2 weapons charges. Investigators say Youngblut had been in frequent contact with a person of interest in the Vallejo murder case, who had also been detained in the Pennsylvania double homicide. The day after the border shootout, an alert is issued calling Michelle Zajko a person of interest in the killing of border agent Maland and seeks info on Zajko's purchase of firearms. Michelle is also listed in another law enforcement bulletin as a person of interest in the Pennsylvania double slaying. Michelle's name is listed on legal notices regarding the estates of Richard and Rita.
How crazy is that, you guys? How it's all connected. So yeah, since she purchased the firearms the day after the murder of Agent Maland, I forget what they call it, a notice was sent out by the ATF, and it says the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives sent an alert to federally licensed firearm dealers reading, ATF is asking for your assistance in identifying any firearm purchases made by Michelle Jacqueline Zajko, a person of interest in the shooting of a Customs and Border Protection officer on January 20th. The alert asked firearm dealers to check their records and contact ATF if they had any information about transfers or attempted transfers of firearms. And I do have the on my banner on the bottom. I do have the numbers to call if you have seen Michelle Zajko in Vermont or any of the. So you guys, they had the I'll finish playing this video. So they have the Airbnbs they stayed at in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and then where her parents were killed in Pennsylvania. I'm sure that she has links to there, and then also where they were in California for a while. So she could be anywhere, you guys, anywhere. Okay, I'll finish playing that video for you guys. I just wanted to show you that.
Maximilian Snyder, meanwhile, is arrested by Vallejo police in Reading. He's the suspect in the Lynn murder. He's booked in Solano County Jail without bail on murder charges, with prosecutors alleging that he killed Lynn to keep him from testifying. Snyder appears in court for an arraignment, which is ultimately pushed back to February 6th because his lawyer is out of the country. We're still trying to connect the dots, and a lot of questions remain, but be sure to follow our reporting at sfchronicle.com.
So what do you guys think? I would like to, the next live that we have, I would like to go over Curtis Lynn's murder more and tell more about exactly what happened to him. And then also Michelle's parents, Rita and Richard Zajko. I would like to go over their murder again because Curtis Lynn, his attacker, which is Teresa, right here. Teresa's in the middle, and on the right is Felix Ophelia Bockhart, the German nationalist who was involved in the murder of the Border Patrol agent. He was deceased at the scene. But on the left is Maximilian Snyder, who is Teresa's fiance, and he is in jail for the murder of Curtis Lynn. So I would like to go. So there is somebody charged with Curtis Lynn's murder, but if anybody else, I think it did say that Michelle was a person of interest in that murder too. So all of the people responsible aren't apprehended yet. And also nobody is charged with Michelle's parents' murder, Rita and Richard Zajko. So I would like to tell you guys more about them too. Aaron says, I think there's probably more people involved with this cult and more that will come out. Yep, I think so too. Jennifer says, I'm just worried there may be a hit book. Yep, very possible. And there is also, where is Ziz? Where is he at right now? They said that the Airbnbs that Bockhart and Teresa had been renting right prior to them going to Vermont, there was a box truck outside that an electrical cord had been running to. So somebody had been staying out there, and the owners of the Airbnb said that a male had been staying with Bockhart inside his Airbnb too. So there's still more people out there that need to be caught, and I want everybody charged if they had any connection at all to any of these murders. You think so, Heather? I hope that he don't try to fake his death again and try to get out of all this. It's untelling where he is. And Teresa had left the country like 3 or 4 times in the last few years. So they could have members of this cult anywhere. Hey, Aries, good to see you. He says, there's a reason why anger, fear, and hatred are paths to the dark side. They all spring from a single source, the same source as a certain flavor of love, a dangerously sweet, addictive flavor. You always have something good to tell us, Aries. I am well. How are you? Good afternoon. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys about this case. But we always have to end on something good. And I know that there has been, you guys, since we met here last time, there was 2 awful plane crashes. And I think that the last that I looked, there was almost 70 deaths from those. There was 7 in Philadelphia with 6 crew members, and then 1 person hit on the ground, and then I think 50 something in the DC plane crash. So many fatalities, and there was 24 people that have been injured in the Philadelphia plane crash now. But like I've been telling you guys since that person told me, and I still thank them for that Mr. Rogers says when you see something scary in the news, you look for the helpers, because there's always helpers. And I have found a few helpers, you guys. Let me get my tabs cleared out, and then I'll show you guys what I found. And I found them on 2 totally different places. There was this one fella that he said that a lot of people were videotaping. Well, not videotaping. What am I? What is this, 1990? I mean, recording, you guys. A lot of people were recording. And he said that he was too busy trying to help people. And so I want to show you guys what he said, and then I'll show you guys who he helped. And this guy, I still don't know his name. Okay, hang on just a second. I'll come back and get you guys.
Children. I was absolutely scared, but I'm like, I need to find someone I can help, because I cannot stand by and watch people just record. I can't do that. I don't record. I help. I don't care about social media. I help so that I can save lives. What did you do to help? I gave the shirt off my back to help a young child with a head laceration. A piece actually went through a red pickup's window, hit the kid, and the parents were shouting, "Help us, help us, help us." No one was around to help at the time. Cops are just approaching. I took the shirt off my back, gave it to them, said, "Push this on his head, keep pressure." I ran back to my car. I got rags. I got anything I could find to absorb blood, push on cuts. My mom worked at a doctor's office. She was there. She was helping. She's disabled. She doesn't walk fast. She was walking fast. And I got...
Oh, he said even his mama was helping, and she was disabled, and she couldn't walk fast, but she was walking fast. Bless him. I do have the link to this video on today's prayer post that I did, you guys. Because I was asking for prayers for all of these people too. So who he helped was actually a 10-year-old little boy named Andre Howard III. And him and his dad and his little sister were they were going for ice cream after school. And when they heard the Heather Bratt says there was another gas station worker who didn't think and ran to help an older lady with shrapnel in her vehicle. I think I saw that too, Heather. Yeah. I would be so scared. I know you guys saw the videos. Like, who would think that something like that would actually happen right in front of you? And then to snap out of your own shock and try to help people. I can't imagine what they saw. They're not used to this. They're not first responders, you know? So who he helped was Andre, who was with his dad and his little sister, and they had been going for ice cream after school. And when they heard the big boom, Andre told his little sister, "Get down." And so that's when he was struck with the shrapnel. And we're going to hear from his dad now. And I have, at first, you guys, I seen the first video and it was really, really bad. I was really, really worried for him. But they say that he, after having brain surgery, well, first they said his dad said that they took him to the closest hospital and they don't usually treat pediatric patients, they're trauma patients, but they did. And he says that was God. That was God for them treating him. And they did a really good job. He had brain surgery and he's woken up now. And the first thing he asked was if he saved his little sister. Jen says, I live 15 minutes from the Philly crash. I still want to review my outdoor security to see if I see any sky colors. I looked out my bedroom window and see the Philly skyline. Oh, wow. Ari says, always good being here, Mo and Co. Keeps me sane here on the YouTube streets despite the ongoing war on the YouTubes. Yeah, I know, buddy. I know. I try to duck and cover a lot. I feel you 100. Okay, let's listen to Andre's dad.
We're leaving Dunkin' Donuts. We're turning to Cotman Avenue and just hear a loud bang and then a ball of fire and black smoke. So tell the kids, get down. It sound like a missile was firing bullets, metal at my car, everyone else's car. You see a car on fire, a man walking on fire. It was just crazy. And then in the midst of backing up, I hear my son, Andre, and I turn around. He has metal out the side of his head. So trying not to be reactive, get out, get the kids out, take the metal. As I move him, the metal fell out and there was just blood gushing. So I had a pair of socks, put it on his head. There was another guy gave me a shirt to put on his head. Flag.
He said another guy gave him a shirt off of his back to put on his head. So that was the guy that we just watched, I believe. Nobody has come out and said it, but I kind of put two and two together. And so that's why I think that it was that fella that helped him. And his dad is saying that here that somebody helped him. So I think that's who it was, you guys. And his dad said that he was trying to keep calm and not react. And I can see that because he still had his little girl to think about too, you know?
I flagged the cop down. They came, they put all of us in the back of a cop car, took us to Jefferson Hospital.
And they went through with the brain surgery.
Yes, they did an A+ job on my son. Praise God, they did a great job on getting him back to recovery so he could come to CHOP, where he's now getting, again, grade A service. They are lovely here. I feel safe here with him, and I feel like he's going to recover. He said his first real words today, asked me about the Super Bowl. But the thing that broke my heart with him today, and I tried to not cry, but it had me crying, Daddy, did I save my sister? Andre, what do you mean? When the plane crashed, I was just trying to help my sister. You told us to get down, and then she got up to look at the fire, and I grabbed her down, and then the next thing you know, I thought I died.
Oh, did you guys hear that? He said he asked him about the Super Bowl, and then he asked if he saved his little sister. He said, you told us to get down, and then he said he thought he died. Bless his heart. Bless his heart, you guys. He says that he feels like he's going to recover, though. He's making big strides already, so that's wonderful.
Kind of broke me down, so if I'm pausing right now, it's because I don't want to cry. But as a dad, it was a bittersweet moment. For one, knowing my son, he listened to me growing up, and he's becoming a great young man, a great big brother, to know to defend your sister. But as a dad, seeing my son like that, that's my job to protect him, not his job to protect his sister. But it's just, thank God that my son is still here. Thank God that we didn't go into that flame, because it could have been a different situation where we all could have transitioned to heaven. But I'm just happy that he's here.
So that was a helper, you guys, that we found, like Mr. Rogers said. So that's good. I wanted us to end on that note. Hey, Sunday, it's so good to see you. I read your great comment at the beginning, and it was really good to remind everybody that even as chatters that we can help. That our words do matter. It was a great reminder. Yeah, you guys, I know that there's a lot of stuff that came out that none of us should see. None of us ever should see about this plane crash. And Erin had seen it first, bless her heart, and she warned me. And so I didn't look. And I'm so thankful for that, because some things you see, you can't unsee, you know? Yeah, I know, Erin. I'm so very sorry about that. Jen, that was my mama. That was my mama. She was telling me that she cooked some roast today. So I'm excited about that. Oh, thank you all so much for being here and listening to me about this very confusing, convoluted case. It was I I haven't seen anybody on YouTube cover it except Police Off the Cuff, and not him, but on some of the articles that I see, they were focused on the wrong parts of it, I feel. And I wanted to focus on the victims like I always do. So, like I said, I hope next time that we can focus on Mr. Curtis Lind and also Richard and Rita Zajko about them. So thank you all so very much for coming today, and thank Mama so very much for helping me, and you're my friends, and I really appreciate it so very much. Yeah, Erin, yeah, you sure did. I'm so very thankful for that. Thanks, guys. I I'll probably try to go live again this week so that we can finish this up, but if you guys see anything else that needs awareness too, please reach out and email me. Debbie just dropped it, bless her heart. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Yeah, I hope you all have a great day, and thank you so very much for coming. And I'll see you guys next time. And don't forget to say your prayers and take your vitamins. Two very important things. Well, thank you for coming, Ava. Thank you. Oh, that's okay, Neat. Thank you so very much for coming by. Okay, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.